Tom, and welcome back to Kaijutopia. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down one of the best standalone Godzilla comic books ever made. Not only is it written and illustrated by Matt Frank, which is an instant win, it stars one of my all-time favorite kaiju, SpaceGodzilla. Without further ado, here is my breakdown of IDW's Godzilla Rivals vs. SpaceGodzilla. Our story takes place 200 years after the events of Godzilla vs. SpaceGodzilla. On the first page, we're treated to an extraterrestrial artifact that reads like a religious sermon. When juxtaposed with the story, these scriptures double as contextual insight into this mysterious religion and makes the reader question whether what we're about to witness is a real prophecy. On a distant orb called Pelicidia, a mining drone flies to an asteroid in near orbit. The asteroid is teeming with a rare type of quartz, which we will soon discover is this planet's main resource. As the drone flies through the asteroid, we see him. No, it's not the top G, it's the SG, SpaceGodzilla. He doesn't notice the drone because he's too busy dreaming of better times. See, he's one of us. Totally relatable. All this is nicely juxtaposed with the narration, which reads, "The covenant is kept. The covenant will provide. Thou wilt keep the covenant, as so too shall the Crystal King." Before SpaceGodzilla's reign of terror begins, we're treated to an aerial view of a gorgeous-looking alien city. From this vantage, everything appears highly advanced, like an ethereal utopia. But when we see the inhabitants of this strange new world and how their society functions, we see it's anything but a utopia. For good or ill, we have way more in common with these aliens than we might be willing to admit. Within a few panels, we see the denizens of this world have formed an unforgiving caste system. Ophiogans, reptilian-like humanoids, live at the top of the social hierarchy. On the bottom rung is an insectoid race known as the Lytians. I said that right, I think. The narration claims their place in life is divinely planned. The light of the quartz favors those at the top, and those that do not are, well, losers and deserve to be treated like vagrants. But the Ophiogans are split into two factions, the religious fanatics and the militaristic industrialists. Both revolve around the power of the quartz, which the military leaders are attempting to harvest. As the drone drills closer to SpaceGodzilla, the titular monster is too busy dreaming of the first time he wreaked havoc on Earth. There's nothing like your first invasion of Earth, let me tell you. Interestingly, the narration adds some new subtext to the rivalry between SpaceGodzilla and Godzilla. As the sermon puts it, the king has been burdened by the sins of many, and the greatest of sinners deny his love. Now, I don't think SpaceGodzilla loves Godzilla in the same way humans do. I mean, just look at him. He's grimacing. Smoke is literally steaming out of his nostrils. But not only does this shed light on SpaceGodzilla's motivations, it suggests the alien artifact may not be a reliable narrator. It also begs the question who actually wrote this artifact in the first place, or it invites us to explore the correlations between love and hate. But our time of deep introspection is cut short because, look! Big monster. SpaceGodzilla's dark fantasies are cut short when the drill slices into his head. Within seconds, SpaceGodzilla springs to life and obliterates the asteroid he had been slumbering in for who knows how long. In doing so, SpaceGodzilla is forcibly pulled into the planet's atmosphere. From their command center, the Ophiogans military watches on in disbelief. What I love most about this breathtaking sequence, aside from, the incredible art, is how the text makes all this seem spiritually uplifting, like SpaceGodzilla's arrival is a good thing. When any Godzilla fan could tell you, if you ever see SpaceGodzilla coming down from the sky, that's bad news. After hitting the planet like it's the like button, a weary SpaceGodzilla slowly rises. Desperate to rejuvenate his energy, SpaceGodzilla detects a quartz monolith, the power crystal, that is energizing the entire planet. And man, Mothra be thy name in what is easily one of the top 10 best moments in a Godzilla comic book, with all eyes of the planet on him, including a Lytian clinging to its child. SpaceGodzilla declares war on everyone, and it's both terrifying, it's awesome, it's so cool. It is then that readers are gifted to this spellbinding comic book spread. Right here, the story kicks off in a big way. SpaceGodzilla's declaration of war creates a schism between the Ophiogans. For many, SpaceGodzilla is rightfully seen as an existential threat, but for the Archbishop and his legion of cultists, SpaceGodzilla is their Crystal King of legend. He is their god made manifest. Unlike other gods, however, SpaceGodzilla does indeed answer prayers with the heavy stomp of his foot. As SpaceGodzilla marches closer to his target, trampling his would-be followers, SpaceGodzilla is met with heavy resistance. I have to give it to the Ophiogans for putting up a formidable defense, even going as far as succeeding in cracking SpaceGodzilla's shoulder crystals, which is by no means an easy feat. Of course, SpaceGodzilla quickly overpowers their machines with his gravity tornado. I freaking love how Matt Frank draws and uses SpaceGodzilla. With their forces being decimated, the Ophiogans' military leader is left with no other choice. To fight monsters, the Ophiogans must release a monster of their own. Meanwhile, SpaceGodzilla is itching closer to his prize, and he can feel it. It's kind of relatable, you know? Imagine getting closer to what you've always wanted. I don't know, buying a new car, getting that dream job, becoming the most powerful Godzilla YouTuber. And it's finally within your grasp. You need only to reach out and take it. But I digress. With each thunderous footstep, SpaceGodzilla is thinking about all the ways he's going to unalive Godzilla when he gets back to Earth. It's then the Ophiogans' mothership arrives, and Godzilla 2000 fans, I can't be the only one who thinks this is a massive nod to the Millennium UFO, am I right? The mothership bombards SpaceGodzilla with green bolts of plasma, but SpaceGodzilla retaliates with his corona beam, instantly ravaging the spacecraft. As it crashes and burns, it releases the cage of the most feared creature on Pelosidia. Enter the dreaded Singira. Given its reptilian insectoid characteristics, Singira seems to be a kaiju-sized hybrid of the two Pelosidian species. Right away, it lunges at SpaceGodzilla, throwing the cosmic saurian down. SpaceGodzilla answers with his corona beam. However, Singira proves durable enough to withstand its destructive energies. During their colossal battle, the Lytians are seen working with Ophiogans sympathetic to their cause. Meanwhile, the Ophiogans' military is fractured by a coup. When their commander is killed, it seems to activate a failsafe in Singira, triggering its most dangerous weapon, a black hole. I remember my jaw dropping to the floor when reading this page for the first time. Even SpaceGodzilla is alarmed. Born from a black hole, SpaceGodzilla knows exactly how much danger he's in. With his corona beam rendered useless and his body slowly being pulled into the singularity, SpaceGodzilla faces complete and utter annihilation. It's then SpaceGodzilla notices Singira's power source, the mysterious crystals jutting out of its chest. Thinking quickly, SpaceGodzilla absorbed the crystals' energy. With their power completely drained, Singira's crystals shatter along with its control over the black hole. No longer immune to its destructive gravitational effects, Singira is consumed by its own weapon. Which is disappointing because it feels like their fight should have lasted longer, but... Emboldened by his victory, SpaceGodzilla resumes his quest for the power crystal with impunity. Just as the Archbishop's followers had infiltrated the military, so too has his church been compromised. However, unlike his military counterpart, the Archbishop was better prepared. A firefight ensues, resulting in the Lytean blowing up the wall with an explosive. This puts the power crystal in SpaceGodzilla's sights. As SpaceGodzilla reaches for his prize, the Archbishop prays for his god to spare him. SpaceGodzilla doesn't even notice him, which is ironic because throughout the story, the Archbishop hardly noticed the Lyteans, electing to treat them like bugs, like insects. Granted, they're insect people, but the point is he treated them like they were beneath him. But to SpaceGodzilla, the Archbishop is nothing more than a blathering flea. He doesn't even notice him when he is crushed to death by falling debris. Did that rhyme? With the power crystal in his hand, SpaceGodzilla's ascension seems all but certain. Suddenly, the monolith begins to crack. As it turns out, the power crystal is not really a crystal. It is in fact an egg. Even SpaceGodzilla is surprised. All this time, the immense power SpaceGodzilla sensed was coming from this baby kaiju. And then it happens. I have to admit, I wasn't expecting what happens next. In many ways, I have to give the writer credit because this would have been an easy way to humanize SpaceGodzilla. Like suggesting there's more to this monster than meets the eye. Nope! Without hesitation, SpaceGodzilla crushes the baby and takes the power for himself. I know, right? It's so deliciously evil. I love it. This is exactly what SpaceGodzilla would have done. The truth is SpaceGodzilla, unlike Godzilla, is a vicious, monstrous tyrant. Despite being born godlike, SpaceGodzilla will stop at nothing in becoming the most powerful being in the cosmos. You cannot reason with him. He has no morals. He has no need for them. To them, they are a weakness, a distraction. SpaceGodzilla is pure evil. Supercharged, SpaceGodzilla transforms into his flying form. It looks amazing, bombarding the area with his cosmic power. Within mere moments, the entire planet begins to unravel. The heavens howl in despair. Crystals rupture cities while simultaneously triggering volcanic eruptions. Pellucidian survivors are forced to evacuate in escape pods. Seeking refuge in the stars, Ophiogans and Lyteans watch on in disbelief as SpaceGodzilla forsakes their dead world by speeding through the cosmic void with the singular purpose of seeking a rematch with the one and only creature in all of creation who has ever beaten him, Godzilla. SpaceGodzilla is one of my all-time favorite kaiju, so seeing a comic that not only gave him an accurate depiction, but something we'd never seen him experience or do was a real treat. The art was absolutely stunning. Every panel on every page had great designs, attention to detail, color, and served as a testament to the artist's passion for this genre. I liked the story. It had a few mishaps, I think, though I enjoyed the fact the alien dialogue was, well, alien, and we had to use inference to figure out what they're discussing. It did make it harder to accept why certain characters behaved the way they did. It felt like this standalone issue should have received the miniseries treatment. Like, there's a great story here. Given the time and place, there's ample potential for character growth, world building, epic monster battles, and so much more. Which brings me to my sequel pitch. Since this story takes place in 2197 and ends with SpaceGodzilla pursuing a rematch with Godzilla, there's oodles of potential for a sequel. Earlier, I praised the Ophiogans for being able to injure SpaceGodzilla with their highly advanced weapons. By this point in the Heisei timeline, the humans are technologically superior. Don't forget, we're talking about the future here, which means in a sequel, we could see the return of the Futurians, Emmy, M11, time travel, and given Japan's futuristic superpower status, possibly an array of mechs rolling off the assembly line like Mechagodzilla, Mogera, salvaged Mecha King Ghidorah, mechanized versions of past kaiju like Rodan and Mothra. Furthermore, we know Godzilla isn't alive. He died back in 1995. Being denied his revenge would no doubt infuriate SpaceGodzilla. But wait a sec, there's a chance a fully grown Godzilla Jr. might still be alive and kicking. IDW Comics, Matt Frank, call me. I got you guys. In conclusion, Godzilla Rivals vs. SpaceGodzilla is a solid entry in the Rivals series and one of my favorite standalone Godzilla comics. It's highly recommended. Now, I want to hear from you, Kaiju viewer. What did you think of this video? What are your thoughts on SpaceGodzilla? Did you like the comic? If you haven't read it yet, are you interested in checking it out now? Let me know in the comments. I'd really like to hear from you. Thank you so much for stomping by. Remember, the only good monster is the one we make friends with along the way. Or one we can outrun.